Okay, good evening, everyone. So this happens one time per year. According to Board of Education Policy 2210, the superintendent of schools or his or her designee shall call the annual Board of Education reorganizational meeting to order and shall preside until the election of a new president of the Board of Education. So I'll start. Please note that the Board of Education met in executive session to discuss certain matters regarding proposed, pending, or current litigation, matters leading to the appointment, employment, promotion, demotion, discipline, suspension, dismissal, or removal of a particular person or persons, and collective negotiations pursuant to Article 14 of the Civil Service Law, the Taylor Law. Would you please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance? Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay, so we're going to begin this evening with the motion to appoint our district clerk, Ms. Betty Campy. Do I have a motion? Second? Good. Questions or comments?
Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Campy. I will call the vote. All in favor, say aye. Let's have it. We will now have our district council, Mr. Jack Bellman, swear in our district clerk. We're trying to capture this on the mic, the swearing in this year with our mic set up, so bear with us for 1 second.
Elizabeth Campy,
Do solemnly swear
do solemnly swear
that I will support the Constitution of the United States
that I will support the Constitution of the United States
and the Constitution of the State of New York,
and the Constitution of the State of New York,
and that I will faithfully discharge the duties
and that I will faithfully discharge the duties
of District Clerk
of District Clerk
of the North Shore Central School District
of the
Board
North Shore,
Education
of the North Shore Central School District Board of Education
according to the best of my ability.
according to the best of my ability. Thank you so much.
Now it brings me great pleasure to ask Betty Campy to stand one more time to assist with the swearing in of our two recently re-elected Board of Education trustees, Mr. Richard Galati and Dr. Andrea McCarry.
All right. Yeah.
Congratulations, trustees Galati and McCary. We will now move forward with the election of board officers, and in order to do so, I need to call for nominations first. Are there any nominations for the position of president of the North Shore Schools Board of Education? Lashofa?
Last year, I had the honor of nominating Dr. Angie McCary for vice president, and now I am pleased to nominate her for president. Angie has taken her role as trustee and vice president seriously and comes prepared and ready to contribute collegially to every meeting. We are so fortunate to have a doctoral level psychologist on the board because her contributions are child development centered and evidence based. Andrea is well researched and has a depth of knowledge about education. Dave is leaving incredibly big shoes to fill, and I just want to express my utmost gratitude and respect for his outstanding leadership. I am confident that Andrea will also be a most successful leader. All the trustees at this table donate countless hours of our time every month to ensure the school district is as successful as it can be. And Andrea is so selfless in her commitment and so focused on advocating for results and real change in our programming. She strongly advocated for our current pre-K program and always supports our special education students. She raises important and thoughtful questions about the quality of our children's education, about their well-being, and about how and where we spend the district's funds. For those reasons and many others, we would be lucky to have Dr. McCary as our president, and it is my honor to nominate her for the North Shore Board of Education president.
Would anyone second that nomination?
Second, happy to do so.
Are there any other nominations? Trustee Galati?
Thank you. First off, I want to thank everybody who sits here for all the work that you've done. It's very selfless. It's time consuming. It's aggravating at times, but it's rewarding. And I think the rewarding piece of it is really why we do what we do. I would like to nominate once again, I do this every year, Trustee Marianne Russo for a position of board president. I feel that as the senior member of this board, she has served this community on the Board of Education as a trustee for 10 years, in addition to all the other volunteer work she has done for the school district and for this community. She brings to the table a background that none of us have in terms of her legal expertise. And although we do have legal counsel, her insight has been so helpful on so many issues for us over the years that I feel very strongly that she should be recognized for what she has done for this board and for this community. And I'm happy to nominate her for those reasons.
Thank you, Trustee Galati. Do I have a second for that nomination?
Second,
Okay, we will now call the vote. Discussion, sorry.
I'm not deliberately trying to imply that I have done this before. So I appreciate what's been said. Thank you, Lisa. It's kind words. Certainly being a trustee is a tremendous amount of time, as we all know, and I think the community knows and recognizes as well. But being in board leadership is exponentially more work. So I want to thank those who stepped up to volunteer for that position. And given that, I just wanted to say for myself that it has been an honor to serve as president of this board. It has been an honor to be selected not just by the community and their election of me as a trustee at large, but also to have the support of my peers for these years in helping steward this district under three superintendents and some of the most challenging times that we've known between LIPA, the pandemic, and of course our leadership changes. But I'm really glad to be able to have that opportunity and being able to speak to the teachers at the start of the year, being able to address the graduation ceremony and shake hands with our fine graduates every year is incredibly rewarding personally, and certainly worth all the time and effort. And as Rich said, sometimes the aggravation that we feel, because it certainly is worth it for the service that we provide to the community. So again, I thank you. I also wanted to say that I think it's important for boards to continually moving on of leaders. I don't think this position is something that anyone should own. I think it should be occupied for a time and then handed over to the next generation. We are links in a chain that is much larger than us. There's no one up here who has been here from the beginning, and no one up here, hopefully, who will be here anywhere near the end of this organization. It's bigger than any individual, and the lesson that we learned from George Washington, who stepped down after 2 years and said, "That's enough. You need to have new people," I think is a wise one. That said, I just want to second what Lisa said about Dr. McCary, because you've been in that leadership, you've seen that effort, you've seen that time, you put in that work. You have the dedication to this district, you have the intelligence, as I've seen firsthand, and the commitment to children first, which is what this position should always be, to have my support. So I'm glad that you're volunteering. I appreciate everyone on this board, and just wanted to say those few words. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Lovemore. Comments, trustee? Okay, now we will now call the vote for Andrea McCary, the Office of President of the North Shore Schools Board of Education. With aye. Marianne Russo, the Office of President of the Board of Education, say aye. Thank you all, and congratulations to Andrea McCary. We will now swear in Andrea McCary as President of the North Shore Schools Board of Education.
Solemnly swear that I will support the Constitution of the United States, Constitution of the State of New York, and I will faithfully discharge duties of the office of President of Board of Education of the North Shore Central School District, according to the best of my ability. Thank you. Lower the mic. Much shorter than Dave. Okay, so, my first task, I have to ask for nominations
for the Vice President of the North Shore Board of Education for 2023-24 school year. Are there any nominations?
To nominate Rich Galati for the office of Vice President. Rich served this district as the teacher for almost 30 years. He's been a president. He's been a parent, a resident, a community member, active in all sorts of organizations such as the Kiwanis, and he brings a unique perspective to us with his years and years of experience. He was a contract negotiator for the teachers union, for the teachers contract, and I think his insights are invaluable. And he has been with us for 6 years, and I think he will be a great asset as the vice president.
Is there a second? Any other nominations?
If only because it gives me my chance to say thank you to everybody on the board. All these comments actually are every single word spoken by everyone has been, in my experience, true and a pleasure to be a part of. And as we've heard, everyone knows the enormous responsibility of the role of president of the board, especially you, Dave, at the moment. But few realize the supporting importance of the vice presidency and the skill set required to perform the job well. Lisa Colasiopo has these skills in abundance. She learns fast and is extremely well organized. She can juggle seemingly endless task lists with alacrity. I have seen it done many times, with alacrity, thoroughness, and speed. And she is amazingly cool, calm, and collected in the most trying circumstances. We worked together a lot during the pandemic on the Think Outside effort, and I saw this up close. So. And perhaps most importantly, as our trusted trustee colleague, she never loses focus on the well-being of every student, even while keeping her sights on the ever-delicate balance between maintaining a healthy fiscal position and ensuring the first-class education for which our district is well known. In short, Lisa is the ideal candidate for this position. For these and many other reasons, it is my pleasure to nominate Lisa Colasiopo to be Vice President of the North Shore Schools Board of Education.
There is a second.
Second.
Any other nominations? Comments, questions, discussions? Being none, I'll call the vote. I'll do it in the order of nominations. All in favor of electing Rich Galati for Vice President, please say aye. All in favor of electing Lisa Colasiopo for Vice President, please say aye. Aye. Congratulations, Lisa. Okay, so we got some important stuff done. Now it's time to switch seats, everybody.
Okay, Lisa has to be sworn in.
All right, after the swearing in. Yeah. You're going to take Lisa Cola's seat. Okay. Okay. Colasiopo, do solemnly swear I will support the Constitution of the United States and the Constitution of the State of New York, that I will faithfully discharge the duties of the office of Vice President of the Board of Education of the North Shore Central School District according to the best of my ability. Thank you, sir. Thank you. So as Lisa signs that, there are two more swaps. Rich, you can stay where you are. Marianne, you can stay where you are. Lisa, Cashman, and Maria, if you guys can swap. And yeah, you could take your name tags.
Okay.
Okay. Everyone get cozy in their new seats. So before we start, I just want to say thank you. This is daunting. I'm not going to lie. And it's daunting in part because for the last 3 years, I have watched Dave Ludmar as BOE president lead our community in what was arguably our district's most challenging time. And trustees, if you need a reminder of what the last 3 years have been like with Dave at the helm, you are in luck because I'm about to give it to you. Under Dave's leadership, this board was faced with the COVID lockdown, the shift to remote schooling, the hiring of 2 building principals, the hiring of 2 assistant superintendents, the resignation of a superintendent, the hiring of an interim superintendent, and then the search for our beloved new superintendent. We oversaw a multi-phase, multi-million-dollar capital bond project that hit a few snags. We had a couple of squeakers of budget votes, and of course, resolving the decade-long LIPA crisis and charting our district's path forward. And all of this occurred under the backdrop of national debates like the mask wars, vaccine wars, and culture wars, things that boards across the country were all confronted with. And as all my fellow trustees know, these are just some of North Shore BOE's greatest hits. All of these big events and the many, many countless little ones that I did not mention occurred with Dave at our ship's helm. He was, quite frankly, our wartime president. Dave was always balanced, always fair, and always focused on what was best for all stakeholders in our district. On behalf of my fellow trustees and this community, Dave, we thank you for your steadfast commitment and exceptional service. So, while the last several years haven't been easy for any of us, I do believe we have become a better and closer board because of it. And as Z often says, we are a district obsessed with progress. And there is much more work for us to do. As we embark on our upcoming year, I know I can depend on each of you. Maria, I know I can depend on you to dive deep into the weeds, to find that one little but very important thing the rest of us missed. Marianne, my neighbor 1 house away, I know that I can depend on you for your incredible expertise with law and collective bargaining and construction. Lisa Cashman, I know I can depend on you for always being the voice of the community, ensuring our work reflects their needs. Rich, my former teacher, the person I've known the longest up here, 30 years, I know that I can depend on you to provide insight into what are the real life implications of our work for teachers and students. Dave, I know that you will take my call anytime, and I know that I can depend on you for guidance and direction when I am unsure. And Lisa Colasiopa, I know that I can depend on you for our friendship. We met 8 years ago randomly, watching our children play tennis, and bonded instantly during a conversation about early childhood education. To know all these years later, we are still very passionately committed to student-centered learning, but now in board leadership together is, quite frankly, pretty darn cool. I am so excited, but even more proud to have you as North Shore Vice President. So while I'm nervous about this new role, I am thankful for everyone up here
add in the central office dream team, Chris, Jamie, Carol, and of course Betty. And boy, do I feel fortunate. In fact, everyone in this community should feel fortunate. I am honored for the opportunity to serve in this new way, and I look forward to all that is to come. So I think I've said enough tonight, especially since we have an agenda that's 55 pages long. So let's get started. And thank you to everyone who came today and everybody listening at home. So pull up your agendas and let's get started. So today is the reorganization meeting, and we're required by law to have this each year. And everyone's going to see that we're going to make a lot of district appointments. So let's start with action 7. Last year's reorg meeting was 3.5 hours, and I'm committed to shaving that down today. So everyone put on their reading glasses and we'll start. So action 7, these actions all relate to our annual district appointments. I'm going to take it from A to O. We have district council and treasurer and deputy treasurer, internal auditor, internal claims auditor, independent auditors, asbestos designee, Title IX compliance officers, record access officers, the record management officer, the extra classroom activities fund treasurer, the certifying officer for school district payroll, purchasing agents for the school district, systems administrator, bond counsel, and finally, section 504, title 2 ADA coordinator. Do I have a motion?
Motion.
I think I heard a second from Lisa. Questions, comments, or discussions? I'll call the vote. All in favor? Aye. Okay, thank you. Next, action 8 through 13. Anyone listening at home, you can pull up our agenda and follow along. Okay. Do I have a motion for 8 through 13? Okay. Second? Questions, comments, discussions?
I did have one comment about action item 13. I just wanted to say that I am really pleased to be part of a district that values conferences and professional development. And I know we are delegating that role to our superintendent, who I have full faith in. And, I am just proud to be part of a district that values developing our faculty.
Any other comments? In action 11, we are increasing the gasoline mileage allowance by 7 cents from last year. So if anyone,
This is the standard IRS rate.
all right, I will call the vote. All in favor? All opposed? Motion passes. Next, I'm going to group action 14 through 18. We have the establishment of tuition for non-resident students, special classes, the establishment of the per diem rate for substitute teachers, the rate for homebound tutoring, the rate for hourly workers, and then finally the adoption of all policies and codes of ethics in effect, which of course are all available on our website. Questions?
Oh, sorry,
Go ahead.
motion.
Oh, motion? Second? Questions, comments, or discussion? Action 14, the tuition for yeah, you got. Oh, no. I was just going to say.
Take the vote.
I was just going to say the tuition for non-resident students follows the state formula. If anyone's interested. Okay. No comments. All in favor? Okay, perfect. The next we'll take actions 19 and 20. These are the appointment of Committee of Special Education committee members and chair people, as well as a resolution appointing impartial hearing officers. Do I have a motion? Second? Okay. Questions, comments, or discussion?
On 19, I would thank the members of the community who volunteer to work on this. It's a very very important role and very necessary for the welfare of our students. And so we commend these folks for stepping up.
I have one question. Dr. Z, I forgot to propose this.
No, that's
Proposed
okay.
this to you earlier, but I'm sure you'll know the answer right off that. In action 20, we described how the appointment of an impartial hearing officer is made from the district's alphabetical rotational list previously adopted by the Board of Education. Have we previously adopted that list? Where is that list? Is that the same list as the members of the special ed committee?
Oh, this is a different list.
Really has been previously adopted. It doesn't need to be adopted every year. Just this needs to be specified.
That's correct. Yes. Yeah.
Any other comments? Okay, all in favor? Okay, thank you. We are moving on now to a regular meeting. We actually have a public hearing tonight for our district-wide safety plan. I'm going to read on the agenda and then we're going to open up the floor if anyone wants to make any public comments for the plan. The district-wide safety plan and building level emergency response plans are designed to prevent or minimize the effects of violent incidents and emergencies and to facilitate the coordination of schools and school districts with local and county resources in the event of such incidents or emergency. The laws require schools and districts to create a number of different safety teams, including the district-wide school safety team. Ours includes representation from the school board, staff, faculty, admins, parents, and has the responsibility of reviewing and updating as necessary the district safety plan annually. The district is required to hold a public hearing, which is what we're doing right now, and make comments available, allow the public to make comments for at least 30 days prior to the hearing. It should be noted that the district-wide safety team reviewed this plan at the May 17th district-wide safety meeting, and the 30-day notice of public hearing was published in our local papers on May 25th. So if anybody would like to make a comment, please come down to the podium for this hearing. Seeing that there are no comments, I will close the hearing. And we can move on to action 23, where, which is the approval of the district-wide safety plan.
Can I just make one comment? Is it
Once
now
we
the
have the
appropriate
motion,
time? Oh,
once we
sorry.
make the motion.
Great.
So, anybody, you want to make the motion? Okay, motion second.
Second.
Okay, now questions, comments, or discussion.
Just wanted to share that I had the good fortune of being able to attend the public meeting that Dr. Z held with Mr. Glennon about public safety, and that though this plan is really complete and thoughtful, the color commentary of his great relationships with community policing and the thought that goes into the safety of our community, I left that meeting really confident that it's really, a priority of not only Mr. Glennon, but personally is how I felt, but the district is really doing due diligence to keep kids safe, which is a no-brainer. But in this climate, is the landscape, the shifting landscape of school safety, we're staying on the cutting edge of, which is validating and rewarding. Anyway, I'll stop. My word finding.
Can I piggyback onto that? I think it's very well said. I want to add, or at least emphasize one aspect you changed, which is the ever-changing aspect of this. That it's not something you could ever stand still. And number one, our physical spaces are changing. We just redid the security vestibules, or are redoing at least one more, and those all have to be adapted into this. So in addition to Jim Glennon, who does a great job, I also wanted to call out John Hall and our entire security team for really keeping this is high stakes stuff. We know that, and thank you. So just wanted to mention that.
The comment for future, I think what would be really helpful is when we put the safety plan out, if we redline the revision so that people in the community can see what we're revising and updating, because it is evolving. And I think that will be particularly helpful next year, as we've changed the physical facilities. And I also think with all the recent shootings, right? We don't ever want to think about that, but I think school safety is a real concern. We know children have anxiety going to school because of all the coverage in the media about school shootings and all of that. So I think as we change with the unfortunately changing environment, that we should be delineating what those changes are.
Maria?
Pile on. I think that's a great suggestion, Marianne. I've been lucky to serve on this committee for the last 2 years, and my first year on the board, I didn't really know what I was volunteering for right away. And it's actually, I wanted to take this opportunity to thank people who don't often get direct thanks, both John Paul and Jim Glennon. I have to say, as impressed as I am with how Dave has run our meetings up here, I've never seen anybody run a meeting as well as you do, John. Incredible. It's a pleasure to serve on the committee. And meeting Jim this year has been an equal pleasure. The way you've jumped in and taught us so many things about, the perspective you have to have. And I want to express my personal thanks for that. The action mentions that the date on which the committee reviewed the document that's being approved tonight. But in fact, the committee worked on it all year under the guidance of these two fine gentlemen. And I'm looking forward to volunteering for the committee again. So thank you.
Lisa?
I just wanted to echo the gratitude. I think that this 47-page document is chock full of, information. It's comprehensive. So I want to thank both Jim Glennon and John Hall and the safety committee, the health and safety committee, for all the work that you have done to put this together. It really outlines all of our safety measures, but includes, those types of things that Trustee Russo was talking about, including, making sure that our children are, healthy and mentally well in these trying times as well. So I really did appreciate all the work that went into it. Thank you.
Any other comments?
I just want to say that concept of informing students, the state actually has made changes this year where we need to communicate to students about the plans. I think that adding that piece, there are some pieces that are, I'd say, optional pieces that can make the message, more positive for students, more helpful. So how we communicate, that's important. There's a requirement too. How we do that, of course, we're going to make that very North Shore in line with our values. And I too want to thank Jim for everything this year. It's been an amazing year. Thank you.
Anything else? Okay, I'll call the vote. All in favor? All opposed? Motion passes. 24, we have the approval of minutes from June 8th. Any comments or changes? Thank you. I will consider them adopted. Action 25, the treasurer's report for May 1st through the 31st. Do I have a motion? Second? Okay, thank you. Questions, comments, discussion? Okay, all in favor? Okay, all opposed? Thank you. Action 26 is the establishment of the 2023-24 tax levy. And this is something that we do every single year. So be it resolved that the following budget of the necessary claims and expenditures in the North Shore Central School District for the school year 2023 to 24 amounting to $120,354,393.60 is hereby accepted, and be it further resolved that the sum of $89,092,027.64 being the remainder of the budget adopted as above, and the amount which must be raised by taxation, net amount for the North Shore Central School District for the 23-24 school year be levied upon the taxable property of the school district as said property has been certified by the Board of Assessors for the school year 23 to 24. This tax levy does not include direct assessments collected by Nassau County. So do I have a motion?
Motion.
Okay, I heard a second. All in favor? Aye. All opposed? Thank you.
Sorry, Andrew, could you
Yeah,
make,
go ahead,
I just want to make a comment on that.
please.
Just to be clear, you mentioned it, something that the board does every year. I think it's also worth highlighting because this has been the subject of, false news out in the world. This is a legal requirement that we do. I think it's important to specify for the community. The community votes on a budget, and the school board, in accordance with the law, sets the tax levy, and that's what we just did. In case anyone's unclear, or in case you're hearing anyone say something differently.
Thank you, Dave. All right, action 27 and 28. I'll take them together. It's the acceptance of the internal audit and annual risk assessment, as well as the approval of the internal audit corrective action plan. Do I have? Thank you. Second. Thank you, Lisa. Questions, comments, discussion.
To make a quick comment, I thought this was a great report, partly because the corrective action plans were so thorough. They showed how well prepared we actually are. The recommendations were significant, but we're ready to, we're ready to meet them. We have so many pieces and parts already in place. And though it looked like a large number, in fact, when I look through it, it doesn't look like a whole heck of a lot of work really needs to be done. So thank you, Jamie, for running such a great ship.
Anybody else? Okay. All in favor? Right. All opposed? Okay. The next we have here is action 29, approval of budget transfers. Do I have a motion? Second? Thank you. Okay, questions, comments, discussions. Favor? Okay, all opposed? All right, sounds good. Report of the superintendent. This is probably the highlight of the night. Dr. Z, take it away.
That's a lot of pressure. Well, welcome to another new year. Our year starts tonight. So year 2. I'm very excited. I'm very excited to be working with this same Board of Education for a second year. You are so supportive and so encouraging, and you made our cabinet's first year a great one, and we're excited to keep going and to go with momentum. And we're really getting to work in a nice way already this summer. We had 5 very successful graduation ceremonies, and we're so excited for our students to move on to their next stage in their educational journey at North Shore or their life beyond North Shore, even though we'll miss them. Thank you to our principals and assistant principals for making these experiences so meaningful and memorable for our students and their families. One of the most amazing parts of the year-end traditions is our high school grad walk on the day of high school graduation, in which our graduating seniors visited their respective elementary schools where they once were students before they graduated later that day from North Shore High School. It was a full circle moment as the North Shore seniors stood in front of their elementary schools, dressed in the traditional maroon and white caps and gowns to take photos. You could hear the cheers of the oldest Vikings high-fiving the youngest Vikings, hugging their respective elementary teachers and saying hi to their principals, faculty, and administrators as they walked down the hallways, visiting the classrooms, and toured their old school buildings. This event is a physical manifestation of the North Shore journey and the type of learning community we want to be. Growth-oriented but caring in our focus on academics, extracurriculars, student strengths, relationships, and wellness. As is all North Shore tradition, once graduation ended, our building still stayed very busy and energetic with a lot of thinking work happening and construction. I want to thank Dr. Smythe and Mr. Menchel for their great work in setting up the summer journey, the TENS program, Talent Exploration at North Shore, our summer enrichment program. With 125 students enrolled, we completed day 1 today. The program will last 4 weeks and is taking place at North Shore Middle School. Construction is underway at North Shore High School. Specifically, we've seen much progress on our fine and performing arts wing and front entrance already. All the demo is done. We're really starting to make nice progress. I want to thank Mr. Hall, Mr. Pappas for all of their support Our dance studio classroom is already being renovated, and we have done everything on our end for the high school turf field replacement, and we are awaiting a scheduled date. I know that's a big question, but we did get an email last week. You've done everything on your end. This is verbatim. We will let you know when there's a scheduling date. Surely we'll be asking a few times per week, and we will update you as soon as we have that date. We're working on making progress on our elementary libraries. We'll have an update for the community shortly. And again, I want to thank Mr. Pappas for his diligence. He's been working night and day on keeping the pressure on, along with Mr. Hall, on our contractors and our construction supervisors. This week, our full administrative leadership team will be meeting for our annual retreat. It actually is a remain. As one former principal used to say, we'll be meeting here in district, but it's all of our principals, assistant principals, directors, Dr. Smythe, Mr. Pappas, and I, really looking at our processes, our systems, and how we implement our initial actions with the North Shore Journey framework. And as always, our fabulous faculty will be involved in their own growth through professional learning opportunities taking place in our schools throughout the summer. It's the envy of many other districts. Our Summer Learning Academy for teachers and administrators, very robust. So thank you, Dr. Smythe, for setting that up, and our Professional Development Committee. On another note, I want to thank our residents who attended the Revenue Generation Think Tank meeting during the last week of school. We shared some very powerful ideas, and I look forward to continuing our conversations in late summer. We have received applications for the Legislative Action Committee and the Community Budget Forum, as well as the Revenue Generation Think Tank. Shortly, I'll be sending out a form, electronic form related to other district committees. We look forward to another great year, and we're excited to use the summer weeks to begin planning for the 24-25 budget already, if you can believe it, and for different actions within the North Shore Journey. Thank you.
Now I understand why you have such a big coffee tonight, because there's a lot of caffeine needed for all of us.
A lot of coffee.
Yeah. I have a question. So the TENS program, right? That was born out of COVID? This is
Yeah,
like
it
2.0.
is. Dr. Smythe and I were talking about it. This is actually the fourth year, and it goes back to the support of this board during the crazy time in the summer of 2020, supporting the building of a summer program that was fully outdoor at that time. And then the continued support in the summers of 21 and 22 last year. And now this is year 4, believe it or not.
Pretty amazing. So how many other school districts on Long Island run their own summer programs? Do we know?
That's a great question. I can get information on that. I do know, and I was bragging Dr. Smythe, during summer 2020, we were one of the few districts to do it. I won't be so bold as to say the only district, but we were one of the few, and I think we created some models. Definitely in the summers of 21, 22, there was COVID grant money from the state where more districts did that work. So, but I think us continuing it, I think now we're going into the more rare territory again.
Pretty good. Pretty exciting. Okay. So time for comments from the public. If anybody's interested in saying anything, please come down to the podium. We'd love to hear it. Quiet night. We're going to break that 3-hour, 30-minute record. Okay, I will close public comments. We can move on to personnel. We have lots and lots of personnel. So I'm going to take this, it's action 33 from A to M. And it includes all different kinds of personnel actions, including 2 retirements. I don't know if you want to, there's a clerk typist, Catherine Stallero, and Michelle Tanner, a teacher aide who's retiring.
Yeah, I can speak to both. Actually, Kathy Stallero is one of the first people I met at North Shore High School working in counseling, and she had worked in special ed before that, and has just been a great support from Mr. Doherty and the other counseling directors. We will miss her dearly, and I can say personally, I worked with Miss Tanner for years. This came after our June 8th retirement recognition, so I'm glad that you brought that up. She's been an amazing support at Seacliff Elementary School for many years. I know when I was principal, chasing me around when I would try and set up my own tech, and just very supportive, a very kind soul to teachers and students. And we will miss her dearly. Thank you both, Kathy and Michelle, for your service to the North Shore Central School District.
I have a motion. I didn't take one. Thank you. I heard a second. Any questions, comments, discussion from the trustees? Okay, action 33, A through M. All in favor? Okay, thank you. Next, we'll take action 34 through 37. We have an acceptance of a donation from Phil Como to the North Shore High School baseball program for $375, as well as a few other actions. Motion?
Yeah.
Thank you. Questions, comments, discussion? Okay, all in favor? Okay. Thank you. Okay, next we're gonna move to, we're on 37, 38. Okay, we're gonna move to action 38, approval of the annual agreements, A through L. Motion, second?
Second.
Okay, questions, comments, discussion?
Question. So we have two textbook management agreements here. You have Textbook Central, which I think is for private parochial schools,
That's correct.
and then there was another textbook management system. Is that for our textbook? There were two.
There we go. That is,
Thank you, Jim.
that's the software that we use for the same, controlling the textbooks that are given out to the Textbook Central is where we purchase the textbooks through the Business Information Systems is the company that supports the software that we use to inventory and control the students in out of district students with their textbooks.
BIS is the database, and the other one is just sort of the purchasing agent.
And I think for the past couple of years, we haven't had a use for BIS. It's to support because they're the ones who support the software. It's been relatively low in terms of the cost, but they're the ones who support the system should we have a problem.
So what database do we use for managing the textbooks that we have in district?
Don't purchase a database through vendors. We kind of use our own Google Sheets and Google software, just not to spend money on that. I think part of it is we're relying less on textbooks. As years go on, we do use a significant amount, but there's that shift.
Any other questions, comments? All in favor? All opposed? All right, we are on to action 39, A through K. These are all our contracts that we're going to approve tonight. So I have a motion.
Motion.
Second? Thank you. Questions, comments, discussion? All right, all in favor?
Aye.
Okay. Thank you. Action 40. I'm going to take A through C with action 41, A through B. These are the approval of our intermunicipal agreements and the award of bids, approval of transportation contracts. So I have a motion. Second? Thank you. Questions, comments, discussion? Making some money off this stuff?
Yes, there are some tuition agreements in here.
All in favor? Okay. All opposed? Thank you. Action 42 is the award of purchase contracts for the 23-24 year. We'll take them A through N.
Motion.
Thank you. Questions, comments? Am I moving too fast? No? You're good with it? All right.
I just have a sort of quick comment. It's interesting to note, look into some of these purchase contracts, how low the amounts are.
Wasn't
And it
that?
seems like, really, we have to approve that?
Yeah.
It just goes to show how heavily regulated. I guess we should be, and we are.
Yeah. No, there was one, I think $6
Right,
or
yeah.
something. Very, I mean, very
Quite
interesting.
These are BOCES contracts.
So this would be an example of us save a way to save money, right? It saves the district money by doing this kind of contract. Okay, all in favor? Aye. Okay, thank you. Action 43, it's the approval of special education consultant agreements. Oh my gosh, we went through, it's A to Z, and then they added on a double A. So it's A to double A, lots of agreements there. Do I have a motion? Okay, I heard a second. Questions, comments, discussion?
Yes, the only comment I would say is it speaks to the level of commitment we have to meeting individual needs, really bespoke to what the needs are in that special education environment, that we have so many specialists because each kid's needs are just a little bit different, and it's encapsulated in all the different specialists that we agree to.
And in some instances, it's a way for the district to save money, right? Because we're providing services without having to pay full-time support and benefits.
Piggyback off of that, Lisa. So just for the public, these are essentially clubs in our bag. These are available resources based on whoever and whomever comes into our district. Kids move in, kids have changing needs. We can call on all these different specialties to be able to best write out those IEPs and give these students what they need. So that's good. I also appreciate that we have answered the question, what happens after Z? But usually it's A prime or double A, or maybe go to lowercase. So let's hope we never get to 53 here.
But we should also add that we can call on them anytime, but also not call on them at any time, right? So it's almost like these are our tools in our toolbox, and we see how the year goes and whether we need them or not.
Yeah,
These are people on the bench. I mean,
Exactly.
let's start off the year with the baseball references.
I was just going to say it sets the rules of the court, so to speak. If you need to play.
I have to warn the public, there will not be many sports analogies
Well,
over the
but
next
David-
year.
Here too, so, you know, we're gonna stick with baseball.
Okay, any other questions or comments? All right, all in favor? I thank you. Action 44, approval of special ed tuition agreements A through F. You want to speak a little bit?
These are the tuition agreements. Sorry, before with those, that was revenue generated from transportation. I apologize. But this, just for 1 second, just to note that while we do pay tuition to some schools as part of our budgeted amount for students who need those special ed services, we are bringing students into North Shore to pay tuition for specialized programs that not only generates revenue, but allows us to provide students, resident students, those services, and ultimately keep North Shore students with special needs in North Shore.
Other questions or comments? I don't think I took a motion, right? Have a motion? Second? Perfect. All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you. We're going to move to action 45 and 46. So this is 45 is the approval of our SPED services and contracts, and 46 are the IEPs. And I'd like to thank everyone for reading through those IEPs. I believe there were about 150 of them. And these are legal mandated services that must be provided to those students throughout the year and also sometimes during the summer. Do I have a motion?
Motion.
Thank you. I heard a second. All questions, comments, discussion?
I feel like I should make a comment just because we're moving too fast in here.
That fight that instinct.
All in favor? Thank you. So now I believe we move to unfinished business, correct? And we're gonna not just institute shorter meetings, but also the post-meeting party. Any unfinished business?
It's the question,
Of course.
which is, and this is this is only my second one of these reorg meetings. When is it the next meeting that we talk about our committee work?
Yes.
Okay.
So everyone should be thinking about that over the summer, every day, every hour. What committees, okay, do you want to belong to? We'll come back and everyone will try to sort it out. Yeah.
There's going to be a fight to get on John Hall Safety Committee, of course.
Any other unfinished business?
I just wanted to mention that too, just to Trustee Cashman's point, we'll also start to talk about goals and, board presentations in the board calendar at that August meeting.
Any new business?
I would just say congratulations again, Andrea and Lisa, and thanks for a really efficient meeting. I have a feeling we're wrapping up.
I know.
You're setting a precedent here. So.
I actually do have a legitimate question that I
Yeah,
just thought of. I'm sorry. I just wanted to remind us, I think, that we have interviews to conduct for our committees for which we've solicited applications. Well, ACT, for instance, meets over the summer, so it'd be nice to keep moving and hate to put another thing on us. Okay, reminder.
All right, we'll get on that.
We'll get them all. We can get them all to us. We could all maybe put them in the
Board
Word docs, make a little folder for them, and pick them out, and then
List correspondence trying to set up the interview.
I think we have a precedent here. We're not spending endless time on things anymore.
All right, any other new business? I guess that's it. Our next meeting is Tuesday, August 29th. I can't wait to see everybody. And we will adjourn this meeting and see you then. Thank you for
summer.
everyone who
Thanks.
watched.
Thank you.
Idiot, so early. It's not